All right, so let me show you guys what we got going on here. That's a couple things, really. Number one, if you watch this arm right here around this joint, when I do this, feel that play in there? Play should not be there. The second thing you may notice while I'm doing this is that the whole unit itself is moving. So we're going to address both of those things, and then also I'm going to see if I can get this to do this. I'm not 100% sure if it will. No, it's not going to do it. But basically, when I'm driving this thing, it gets to a point on this shock. I don't know if it's the vibration accompanied with it, but like if I'm there on the throttle, it'll actually push it the rest of the way to full throttle, which obviously is a problem. So I'm going to address both of those things. I also feel like, and I could be wrong, there should be a spring on here that returns these kind of to the neutral position, but I haven't seen anything like that in parts diagrams or anything, so I'm going to do a little bit more digging on that. But for now, I'm going to replace this shock and the two bushings that are in this arm and hopefully get some of this slop out of here. So this is my replacement shock. From John Deere, so it matches exactly. And then here are my bushings. One goes on the top of that thing, and one goes on the bottom. So, grab some tools and a couple paper towels to wipe this grease off of here, and we'll get started on this. Looks like there's just a couple C-clips hold the shock on. Got that one out without sending it to the moon. That's always a good thing. There's a washer underneath the C-clip. Both off without sending them to the moon. That's a miracle. Yeah, you see all that flex right there? Could be wrong, but I don't think that's supposed to do that. So This side feels like it's loose, that one feels like it's stuck on there. There we go. So yeah, half the sleeve popped out of this end. And now it comes right off. Well, there you go. Yeah, something should just not right in here. This whole thing should not be moving that much. I might have to pull some body panels off to figure out what's going on with that. But let me get these bushings out. We'll deal with that afterwards. Washer. Thing doesn't look horribly worn. Sometimes looks can be deceiving. This one feels like it rocks back and forth. So I wonder if the top one was doing the same thing and that's our issue. So I think that's going to fix our problem, which means that I'll do the work it takes to get these off. Time to take this apart. Got to get this arm off before I get this one out because of the one of the arms is on the other arm. Just is what it is. That's out. Alright, so now that that's off, got all three of my nuts. In the process of all that, the fuel pump decided to end its life, so I've got to pick up a fuel pump for this. That's an easy swap. It's just a power and a ground wire. So do that. Now I'm going to crawl under here, see if I can get these bolts tightened up enough to make a difference. extension. And I don't even know what else. It's not going to be an easy one to get tightened down. I'm going to try this. I'm not sure it's going to work. The problem with this one is it's got a square head in it, so it sits down in, so you don't have to put a wrench on the other one, but it's so loose that when I put the wrench on it, it's pushing the bolt head up out of that slot. And so when I go to turn it, it's not grabbing anything. I'll try and hold it with the screwdriver, hold it down. That way I can get this thing. That one appears to be the same thing, it's just rounded out. So we'll try the impact on it. See if I can get it off. Because obviously it doesn't want to go on. Just stay. Well, the other option at that point is to cut that bolt off with a grinder and place it in something else. And I'm not doing it today. So I don't think we can do that period actually. Because there's no good access for me to get on to actually do it. Typically when I do that, it'll catch at some point. See if I can get a wrench on the other side of this. It's tight and everything. I'm going to be able to. Maybe one of those things got sent to auction. see, this is what I thought it should be doing the whole time. And we get the last little bit of play out of there and get that bolt tightened down. I'll be a lot more comfortable operating this thing. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of sketchy when you go to make a turn, especially with that old shock that was on there. You go to make a turn, and all of a sudden you're at full throttle. It's not really a great feeling. But now we gotta return to neutral. We gotta figure out why the rest of this thing's so loose. Found one bolt that was loose, but there's got to be more. I mean, I found 2 mounting bolts that were loose. I tightened one of them up, the other one I couldn't get to tighten up, but there's got to be more. So, all right. Well, until I get a 13mm wrench, this is going to get put on hold. I'll stop right there, and when I see you guys next, hopefully I'll have a 13mm wrench, and I may, I'm going to get into these brakes too. They're not doing anything right now. So, fuel pump, 13mm wrench. Is what it is. Wow. Got a bunch of stuff to get. Alright guys, I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this, but down in here is this screw that I've been fighting with, or this bolt I've been fighting with. And if you see, it's actually right here where the end of my finger is. Y'all can't see, let me move y'all. You see my finger now? Alright, you can kind of see the tip of my finger right here. This is the bolt I've been fighting with. There's a lot of slop in this thing, and it's making it so that I think the neutral safety switch is not getting engaged properly, and it's also making it where that spring that's supposed to return this to center has got too much play in it and it's not returning to center. So I've got to figure out how to tackle this. I think the first thing I need to do is clean this up. So I need to get some degreaser, throw some degreaser on here, try and melt a bunch of this crap away. That way I can see what I'm looking at and go from there. So I'm gonna go grab some degreaser and probably look at the schematic on this thing and see what I can't figure out. So I'll be with you guys in a second. Alright, so I got some of this foaming degreaser from O'Reilly's, and I think I'm supposed to squirt this on there and then leave it for a while, 15 minutes. So that's what I'm gonna do. Try and get in all the nooks and crannies. And then we'll leave that for about 15 minutes and come back and rinse it off and hopefully have something clean to work with. I'm gonna spray a little bit more down in here because it's not a happy area. So leave that for about 15 minutes and then I'll see you guys back here then. Alright guys, so it's been, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. I'm going to rinse this off, see what it looks like. This is probably going to end up being a shorter video than what I intended because the weather's not been cooperating at all this week. But I know you guys want to see some John Deere content. So I'm trying to make do with what I got. believe that is a 13 millimeter, if I remember correctly. Let's see if we can't get this thing to tighten up. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it is a hell of a lot better. No, I just got to retrieve my socket. Yeah, there's virtually no play in that now. That's exactly what I was looking for. So I think that means that it's time to throw our pedals back on, throw our new shock on, and see if these pedals will return. Haha, you see that? That's how that's supposed to act. Before, when we pressed it, it just stayed wherever we pressed it. So that's a good thing. So I still don't like, seems like this whole thing is moving. I don't know if y'all can see that. But the whole unit moves. When I depress the pedal. It looks like this heim joint's a little seized. Put some WD-40 on it, work it down in there. All right, that's acting a lot better. New shock. Still returning. Turns a little slow there. All right, it's not perfect, but it's certainly a lot better. And I think once I figure out how to get this thing from moving all over the place, it'll get even better. For now though, I'm going to throw this clip back on. I know where one of these clips is, so I'm going to put that back on. The other one I've still got to chase down. It's in the engine somewhere from my stupidity last week. And then I'm going to crawl under here and see if I can't figure out how to get that thing from moving, how to keep it from moving so much. I know we got one mounting bolt that is trying to avoid cutting off, but I may end up cutting it off. I'm gonna pump that thing full of grease, make sure it's taking grease, number one, and number two, see if that cleans up a little bit of the slop in there. It may also make things move more smoothly and allow that thing to return a little bit better. All right, call that good. Yeah, there's not nearly as much play in there now. So it will return fine from the reverse position. It'll return fine from the reverse position back to neutral. The forward position though, I don't know if y'all are going to be able to see this or not. This arm goes back and forth this way. It's the one that's connected to that spring, and I guess that controls the flow, unless you know whether you're going, whether to go forward or reverse. So when I push, the arm's going that way, and I think that it returns easier in the reverse position. I keep saying position. I think it returns easier in the reverse position because it's pulling on the arm, and the whole drive, it's not a drive unit, I don't even know what you would call that, the hydraulic unit right there, it doesn't move. When I go and push forward, I don't know if you guys can see that, but the whole unit is going the same way the rod is going. It's moving, it's rocking that way, and the rod is pushing that way, and it's pushing the spring that way. So when I let off, there's not as much tension on the spring, and it also doesn't come back to a neutral position until I push on the reverse pedal, and then it comes back to a neutral position. So you guys see how much that just moved? And when I let go, it doesn't move as much, and then it continues to move as I press that. That's the position that it needs to be in. And if it stayed in that position, I'm not able to hold it. If it stayed in that position, I bet you money that it would return better. So I'm going to work on figuring out what's going on underneath here. Oh, I need a lift. This whole thing is hard as hell to see under because it's less inches off the ground than my head is thick. I think that if I pull the radiator off, I'll be able to see what the hell's going on. Let me open up the engine compartment and see if that'll be the case. I'll have to pull the oil cooler off too. There's 2 lines there. Is it worth it? That's the question. If I get this off of here, am I going to be able to solve my problem? I pull the radiator separate from the oil cooler. I was also trying to get the steering wheel off. This is what it's like to work with ADHD me. So I sprayed, the nut that goes on here is missing. Surprise, surprise. So I sprayed penetrating oil down in there. Because I would really like to get the steering wheel off. So that when I go to paint, that I can pull all these panels off. I think that'd be the best way to paint it. Be pull all the panels off, clean everything up real good, and then think about paint. So I hadn't done a ton trying to get this off. I could get one of those things that goes here, but then there's a nut there, but there's not really a good way to grab a hold of the steering wheel. I may end up kind of making my own thing to pull that off. All right, let me think about one thing at a time. I want to see, I guess, if there's any way for me to tighten this down and get this thing to stop spinning. Now that I can see it from the top side. Wonder if I could put a tack weld on it to hold it. I'm gonna try that. Keep it from spinning that way. And hopefully not burn anything that shouldn't get burned. So let me spray a little more degreaser on that spot so that I can get a decent weld on it. Or a lot more degreaser on that spot. I'm also going to spray some on the underside here because it's greasy all over. I'll let this sit for another few minutes. Hopefully that's enough degreaser. Now we'll give that a few minutes to do its job, and then, like I said, I'm going to try and tack weld the head of that bolt onto the frame. What it is a carriage bolt like this, and so it's got a square on it, and that square is supposed to index with the piece down below, and then you just tighten the nut up. Well, I can't tell because I've not gotten the bolt out, but either this on the carriage bolt or the hole it sits down into is wallered out. So since it's wallered out, all it does is spin and not tighten up, and I think that's creating our issue. So I'm gonna let this degreaser do the work, spray it off, tack weld it, tighten it up, see if that fixes our problem. So I'll see you guys in 15-20 minutes. So unfortunately, as I kind of suspected, the radiator's got to come out for me to get to all the mounting points on this hydraulic pump, and I simply do not have the time to do that this week. So the weather hasn't been cooperating with me. This is only the second day this week I've actually been able to get out here and work on this. So I'm going to reassemble what I've got here and pull the reel in the back the rest of the way off so that I can get ready to start going through that. But I'm gonna have to cut this short, unfortunately. It is what it is. So sorry if you were hoping to see that fixed in this video. It's going to be in the next one. I'm working on a couple things right now, hopefully to buy me some more time to actually work on this and make some progress on it. But the next thing I need to do, besides the drive system, is go through these reels and get them working how they should. So I'm gonna pop this motor off of here, that way I can pull the drive unit out, or pull the reel all the way off. I'll start going through that in the next couple of days or weeks, depending on how the rest of the stuff goes. I think this is a 15mm bolt. They've got this designed in such a way that you cannot get a socket on there. So this would be better with a propane torch, but I don't have a propane torch. I got this little butane torch. That was enough. I'm honestly surprised that got it loose. I got one more bolt on the bottom here. See if I can get that one to cooperate as well. It looks like we got water in our grease. So we'll have to address that. Alrighty. So I got this pulled off. I'm gonna do these one at a time. That way I don't risk getting any parts mixed up as I tear these apart. Start tearing that apart next week. Start going through it, cleaning these reels up. There's some bearings that are gonna have to be replaced. There's a paint that needs to be repainted and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna end this video here. Like I said, unfortunately, dealing with time constraints. I've got a 6-week-old, plus I'm trying to get ahead on a couple other projects so that I can really focus on this. So that's why it's been a little bit since I've uploaded on this. But hopefully next time we come back to this, I will be far enough ahead that we can do a few videos in a row and get this thing finished up and beautified and cutting grass. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, please hit that subscribe button. If you think this video sucks as much as I think it's gonna suck, please leave me a comment. Tell me how much it sucks and how terrible I am. But we'll get back on this soon. We'll actually have some exciting content on it soon, and hopefully we'll be cutting grass with it soon. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week.